podcast presented by LineStar, your top 5 NFL player profits for tonight's Monday Night Football action, Week 2. Alongside my co-host Tyler Wiemann, I am Shannon Sommerville. Tyler, how are we feeling after another crazy weekend of NFL games?
Yeah, it was another wild one, another fun weekend, and I'm excited to dig into tonight's 2-game Monday night.
Yeah, a little doubleheader for Monday night action tonight. We've got the Saints going up against the Panthers and the Browns going up against the Steelers. And we've got 5 great picks for you guys. You can find them on Underdog Fantasy, PrizePicks, Sleeper, and CHALKBOARD. And if you use the promo code LineStar, you can get up to $100 of your first deposit match. So make sure to check out those apps and get that free money while you can. Remember, the promo code is LineStar. Also, the tool we're using to help us find the prop picks is called the PropsAI tool, and you can find that at LineStarApp.com. It's an awesome tool that'll help you sort through the prop market and find the best value. So let's get into it for tonight's action, Tyler. We picked out 5 pretty great props, in my opinion. The first 3 are LineStar team picks, and then we're going to go head-to-head in our picks as well. So let's start things off with Saints tight end Juwan Johnson. Over 23.5 receiving yards. It's around minus 120. LineStar's projection for Johnson tonight's about 29 receiving yards. Johnson averaged 31 yards per game back in 2022. He had 36 last week against Tennessee. He's gone over in 6 of the last 10. Tyler, what do you like for Johnson tonight going up against the Panthers?
Yeah, the Panthers just represent a decent matchup here. Carolina is allowing 35 yards per game to the tight end over the last 9. Johnson had 5 targets last week. He should at least get that once again. And he's been over in 6 of the 10, so we know he's a target that they like and that they can trust. So I think it's a pretty interesting one for him.
Yeah, I like this play. You put this in the sheet, and I was like, that's an interesting one, especially since the Carolina Panthers, they seem to be adopting more of a zone coverage defense under Frank Reich. Mm-hmm. And so in that case, that's great for Juwan Johnson because he dominates zone. 1.63 yards per route run. That's the 9th highest among tight ends last season. So I think he's in a really good position. Yes, the Carolina defense is actually kind of sneaky good, but I like Johnson's spot here. Next up, let's go to the go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, and Johnson was on the field for, over 80% of the snaps last week. So we know he's going to be out there a lot, and 23 yards isn't that many.
All right, let's go to the Steelers versus the Browns, and we're going with Browns running back Nick Chubb over 80.5 rushing yards. Last season, Chubb averaged 90 rush yards per game and 106 last week against the Cincinnati Bengals. And that was surprising to me because last season Cincinnati gave up the 4th fewest rush yards per game to running backs. So Nick Chubb, former Georgia Bulldog, got to like his spot here for the over. What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Nick Chubb just is a workhorse in this backfield here. And he's one of the best running backs in the game. And literally every single game, he is a threat for 100 yards. Just seeing it at 80, you got to kind of like it.
Yeah. And you worry maybe a little bit that the Steelers defense is pretty good, but like CMC had no problems with it whatsoever last week. And Chubb isn't as much of a passing game threat, but I still like the rush yards here. I think he'll be all right. Just fine against the Steelers team. That's kind of, I don't know. I'm a little worried about them, to be honest with you. Ugh, that's a whole nother story. We'll get into it at the end of the show when we do our picks. But next up, we're going to go to Carolina Panthers quarterback Bryce Young for an interception in this one. Listen, this is simply a young rookie quarterback who's going to make mistakes, especially this early in the season, and he's going up against a Saints defense that likes to capitalize on mistakes. Ryan Tannehill had 3 picks last week against the Saints, and Bryce Young threw 2 week 1 against the Falcons. I think it's fair to assume he might throw another one here, Tyler. What do you think?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, you have a young quarterback here, and they are very prone to making some mistakes, and we saw that last week have some problems with it. I mean, with that,
they made Tannehill look absolutely silly last week, and so I imagine they might be able to do that to a young rookie quarterback who's just figuring it out, especially against some of those vets that they have on defense back there for the Saints. So, all right, now it's time for you and I to go head-to-head with our picks, Tyler. Where are you headed for a prop pick for tonight's action?
I'm going with Terence Marshall over 11.5 receiving yards. Look, he played 90% of the snaps last week, which was the most on the team. He also had the most targets at the wide receiver with 6 of them. I think he's going to be heavily involved once again. Thielen and Shark are both questionable. We don't know their statuses yet. And with that, I think Terence Marshall is old reliable. He's been there now for a little bit. They were raving about him all off season, and I think he's going to have a chance. And I think 11.5 is just a little bit low. It's one catch.
Yeah.
And if he played 90%
exactly.
last week, even if those guys are back, he still plays 40-50% at least, and 11.5 is just too low.
Yeah, I like that pick there a lot. For my pick, I'm going to Saints running back Jamal Williams, higher than 68.5 rush and receiving yards. Williams had 52 last week, but that was against Tennessee, who actually has a pretty good rush defense. 18 carries is what he had. And so, I mean, what that's telling me is with Alvin Kamara out with a suspension, the backfield kind of seems to be his. Kamara had 19 carries per game against Carolina last season. Carolina also just allowed 2 Atlanta running backs both to go over that 68.5 rush and receiving yards. Tyler Algier had 94. Bijan Robinson had 87. So I like Williams' spot here to hit that over on 68.5 rush and receiving yards. Also, if the NFL had like a best personality contest, like a yearbook thing, it would be Jamal Williams. So we just like him. He's very entertaining and fun.
I love his press
Wiemann,
conferences.
He's just got like, yeah, he's always super entertaining. So there's that too.
Yeah.
That's gotta impact some way, right? You gotta endorse him there for. But he's in a really great spot against a Carolina defense that got run all over by the Atlanta Falcons in week 1. So we like that there. Again, you can find these picks, Underdog Fantasy, PrizePicks, Sleeper, and Chalkboard. And if you use that promo code LineStar, you'll get up to $100 of your deposit match. Also, make sure to enter into our Prop Bets contest. All you need to do is make sure you like this video, you're subscribed to our channel, and you comment below. If we hit 4 out of 5 props, one randomly selected commenter will win $100. So make sure to be in it to win it. Get your comments in below. Let us know where you're headed tonight in your picks and your best bets of the night. We got to help each other out. Let's beat the books and win some money. Now let's go to our touchdown calls of the games. Tyler, where are you headed for a touchdown tonight?
I'm going to go David Njoku plus 325. I'm a little surprised at the, plus 325 in this situation, but I really like it. Amari Cooper is likely missing the game, which is one of their main targets here. Njoku is a big red zone threat, and Pittsburgh's been weak versus the tight end, so why not lean into it with the touchdown?
All right, I like it. I'm going to Saints wide receiver Chris Olave for an anytime touchdown plus 200. Olave and Derek Carr look like they have great chemistry in just 1 week of film, and so I'm looking for him again to dominate in week 2. He had 8 receptions for 112 in week 1. He's been dominant versus the Panthers in the past, last season averaging 103 receiving yards over 2 games against them, and he did have a touchdown against the Panthers in his last game against them. He led the NFL in receiving yards per route run against man coverage as a rookie. Chris Olave is Chris Olave, and he's awesome, and I expect him to score a touchdown tonight, especially since Derek Carr seems to really like him as well, and that always helps to have the trust of your quarterbacks early on too. They seem to be like connecting right out of the gate. Did you watch any of that game last week, Tyler, with the Saints? Like Derek Carr and him just looked like on the same page. It was great.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch that one, but Olave is such a good talent. I love him, and I got a ton of them.
Yeah, you were high on him even last year. I remember before the season started. That's been your guy. So, all right, for tonight's games, do you have any picks on who will be the winners of the game? Are you taking any action there?
I haven't bet anything as far as sides, totals. It is interesting. We have 2 very low-scoring games here.
Right.
But if I had to pick, I would be taking Saints Steelers.
All right, Saints Steelers. Interesting. Are you not buying into the Deshaun Watson is back hype? It's already started. We'll see what he does against TJ Watt, huh?
I think he's good. I think the Steelers are a different challenge at home. And if they're missing Amari Cooper, it just really hurts that passing game big time. They just don't have many reliable threats in that passing game without Cooper there.
Yeah. I mean, the Steelers defense, legit. I could definitely see scenario. Just that offense, I just can't get behind it right now. The Pittsburgh Steelers offense has been disappointing me because I like George Pickens is like one of my favorite players, being a Georgia Bulldogs fan, and it always just disappoints me how they have all these weapons that they can't seem to figure out how to utilize appropriately. Like Matt Canada, that offensive coordinator, I'm already seeing memes from Steelers fans just so I would roll with the Browns. I would roll with the Browns. I mean, they got the good rushing game, and Deshaun Watson maybe starting to connect on some passes. I know he didn't look great early on in that game against the Bengals by any means, but it'll be interesting. That these division games are always like
so tough to
choose. But and then I do like the Saints. Like they looked pretty good. Derek Carr looked like he had all the weapons there and stuff. So I'm liking the Saints. So that's going to do it for our show today. Make sure to tune into Tyler's DFS breakdown as well. If you guys are playing daily fantasy, always check out the LineStar app before you play daily fantasy or play some prop bets. Use that PropsAI tool in the LineStar app. Check it out at linestarapp.com. Good luck in all your betting endeavors for tonight. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.
Have a good one, guys. Bye.